Hello everyone. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and open up the charity auction file that we were working on the other day. We're going to be adding to this cover page now and creating a whole document. So the first thing that we need to do is make sure that your paragraph markers are on. So do that first if they're not on. The next thing we want to do, we're ready to start our next page, so we're going to go to page layout. And then we see a button here that says breaks. Go ahead and click on breaks. Okay, and then we're going to scroll down and select next page. Once we get to the next page, what we're going to want to do is have some standard formatting here instead of the fancy stuff. So we want to go back to the Home tab, and once we go back to the Home tab, we want to clear our formatting so that we're ready to start some standard text here. I'm going to insert some text into the second page that's already been created for you. Yours is going to be saved on the common drive under Witherall. So we're going to go to Insert. Then over here under Object, we're going to go Text from File. And it's going to give us a chance to choose our file here. And we're going to go ahead and choose Charity Auction Draft. And then we're going to insert that into the text. You can see that it inserts the text into our document for us. The other thing that it does is insert our paragraph markings and everything like that. I'm going to go ahead and have you save this as something different now. Go up and go to Save As. And instead of Charity Auction, let's save it as Charity Auction Proposal. And go ahead and save it in your directory drive. So for me, it'd be my D Witherall drive. Or for you, it'd be your first name dot last name. So locate that drive and save it there. Position your cursor at the very beginning of that second page. Then go ahead and go to the Home button, and we're going to select Change Styles. Once you've clicked Change Styles, go down to Fonts. Once you've pointed to Fonts, we're going to go down to create new theme fonts. For the heading font, we are going to create the same font that we used earlier. It's that TW Cint MT Condensed Extra Bold. So if we scroll down, you'll find that there. For the body font, go ahead and go in and find Franklin Gothic Book. So if we go to Franklin Gothic Book. Okay. Then the last thing we're going to want to do here is we're going to want to change the name of this for this custom name. And we're going to use Enter Charity Auction. Let's go ahead and scroll down to the end of this page. After the word proceeds, you notice that there's a page break here. We really don't want this page break here, so what we're going to do is we're going to move our mouse up, and when you get this right-faced pointer here, you're going to click. You can see it highlights page break. Go ahead and hit delete on your keyboard. If you notice here, we're on page 3 of 3, and what I want to do is go back up to page 2. So if you notice, if you click on that, you can just enter the page number here. I want to go back to page 2 and hit go to, and now I'm at page 2. So let's take a look. The next thing we're going to want to do here is add a header and a footer. So let's go to the Insert tab, and then on here you'll find where it says Header. Alright, it gives you a bunch of different types of headers that you can choose from here. So click the header button on the Design tab, and you'll have all these different options. Oops, sorry about that, hit the wrong button here. And then you're going to go down to Alphabet. That's the header that we want. And you notice that it's entered a header up there for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to backspace out of that. We're going to put a new title in here called 5th annual. Oops. Knoll Springs charity auction. Okay. And what I think I'd like to do here is highlight that. Let's go back to the Home tab, and once again hit on that change to uppercase, so it's all uppercase. Like that, looks a lot better. And now we can go back to the Design tab. There should be a button on here that says Go to Footer. On mine it's right here. On some versions of Microsoft this might be hard to find, but we're going to go ahead and go to Footer. And we're going to insert a footer down here too. And I'm going to turn my caps lock on and write, "Join us for this great cause." Okay. And now I can hit Close Header and Footers. The only problem is after I close it, sometimes I want to go back in and make some more edits. And you might wonder, well, how do you get to this down here? You actually have to double click and it lets you back in, and then you have your design panel open up there too. Something that a lot of people want to add to the footers is a page number. So let's go ahead and hit page number at the bottom of the page. Okay, and you can see all the different types of ways that you can insert footers with numbers at the bottom of the page, and a bunch of different styles you can choose from. So just go ahead and pick one. I'm going to pick like this. Now it's put our page number down here at the bottom, but there's a problem because page 1 is actually our title page, but most documents you're not going to include your title page as page 1, so you have to do some formatting here. So instead of saying page 2, if we go up to numbers and we go back up to format page numbers, we're going to start at 1. And so you notice that it changes from page 2 to page 1, which is something that can come in handy, especially for English projects. And you have that title page or something, you definitely want to change it so that the first page of text and content is page 1. So now I think we're totally done with the header and footer, so go ahead and close that again. I'll close out of the headers and the footer. Now we're going to take a look at this table, see if we can clean this table up a little bit. The first thing we're going to want to do on the table here is to set this title apart. So let's go ahead and highlight that. Let's make it bold. And then the other thing that we're going to want to do is let's find that same color that we've been using, so that kind of stands out a little bit here. Now when we imported this table, we seem to have gotten an extra column here that we didn't need. So if you position your mouse right on top of that column, you'll get a little point down arrow right there. And actually if you just hit delete, if you right click and hit cut, that column goes away. Okay, the next thing we want to do is position our mouse down here in this 5th row of this table, so the last one down here, and we're going to want to total all of this stuff. So if we get it so we have that little right angled mouse again and we click, it highlights that whole row, and then if you right click and you go up to insert, you can insert an entire row below. So there you see we got a row down below that we can do some totals with. So let's go ahead and indicate that here. Let's just write, oops, my cap lock's still on, total. Okay, and this is where our totals are going to go. And so we want a total for this Cancer Alliance column here, so I'm going to insert my pointer over here. And then if we go up to the Layout tab, over here on the far right is a button that says Formula. All right, you see the formula, it says equals sum above, so it's going to total what's in this cell above us here. So we hit OK, and it's totaled it for us. Pretty cool. So if you hit the Tab key, it'll go over to the next cell, and you do the same thing. Hit Formula, hit OK, Tab one more time, Formula, OK, and now we've got a complete cell here with the correct mathematical formulas in place. You know, if you were really going to do a lot of number work, it might be better to use a spreadsheet for this part, but since this is embedded in a document, it's okay to use this table. So our table is mathematically correct, but it's boring. So what we really need to do is we need to go to Design, and we can do some design changes to this table. So the one thing you want to make sure here is that the header row is selected. Okay, so we got that. that the total row is selected, and then also the first column. So that's what's going to be changed here when we go and get ready to pick one of these styles. So I'm going to click down here. I kind of like this style right here. It's kind of a similar color to what we've been working with. There's lots of different ones that you can choose. So we'll just go ahead and go with this one. Alright, and you can see that this first column's been changed. It's now bold. This top column is now quite a bit darker. And there's some formatting that has happened here. I'm still not a real big fan of the color, so let's see what else we got here. If we scroll down, kind of like that one. It's called Colorful List, I think. That's what it just said. Down at the bottom, so we'll select that. That looks a little better to me because it's gray. It kind of offsets everything. And you have the darker color up here at the top. And then this first column is now bold. As you can see, the table is kind of aligned to the left here. So if we put our cursor over the top of the little arrows icon here, you can see that up here in this area was that little transparent box, but when you move your cursor up, you can see it. And then we're going to want to go ahead and center it so that it's now in the center of the page. Since we got the table still selected here, why don't we go ahead and create an outside border. So if we go up to borders and we find an outside border, okay, got a nice thick border around the outside, and instead of it being a 6 point, let's take it down to 1 point so it's not as extreme here. Actually, I think I did that backwards, so if you hit Control Z, that undoes what you just did. And then we'll go ahead and we'll set this to the 1 point, and we'll go borders. Now we have a nice border around the outside, and we can even mess with the shading here a little bit and make it gray if we wanted to, but I think I'll just leave it how it is right now. And if you just click in here, it deselects it. Now we have a gray shading up here, and then right down here the totals in white, and everything looks pretty nice there. Something that happens when you have dollar signs is things start to get a little messy and kind of join together. So let's highlight everything that has dollar signs here. And let's go ahead and go up to Layout. And in the top right hand corner of the alignment part is a top right align. And it moves all the dollar signs away from each other. Makes it a little clearer and easier to read. Okay, the only other thing I don't like is how close the chart is, or excuse me, the table is to everything else. So if I hit enter, give a little space there, and then after this paragraph, hit enter again to give a little bit more space there. Kind of lets this chart stand out a little bit. So that's it for this tutorial. Next time we'll be taking this information and turning it into a graph. Alright, thanks.